I want to apologize in advance. The stats I will recommend in this video is for optimal performance and therefore have crazy high stats requirements. For some, you will be fine since you plan and prepare your pulls and adjust to Trackblazer scenario really quickly. For those that don't have the most optimal cards or start off slow adjusting to a new scenario, please do not stress over the CM. The CM sucks balls. Just do your best with what you have on your account with the best of your ability, and at the end of the day, remind yourself that you tried your best to prep for your Umamusume is meant to be fun. Please do not dread over 1 CM. Focus on learning the new scenario and having fun with it. This will be more of a generalized guide for the PISCES Cup. I am only here to provide you with some ideas and things to consider for your CM prep. If I included something that you don't think should be on the sheet or I didn't include something significant, as always, please let me and everyone in the community know in the comment section down below and I'll go ahead and update the sheet accordingly. Please always check the sheet for the most updated information. If I mess something up and need to change something or any new relevant information comes out for this CM, I will be updating this sheet. The link to the sheet will be in the description as always. Just understand the thing you see in the video itself is a 1.0 version of this sheet. And if you enjoyed the video, do leave a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. For the track condition, this CM is a long CM, 3200 meter Hanshin turf. It is clockwise, so right-handed, and it is spring season and rainy weather on heavy terrain. And because this is a heavy terrain, we do have a minus 50 speed debuff and an increase in stamina consumption. For stats, we do not have any hidden stats bonus threshold this time around. We will want near max speed as per usual. The more cap it is, the better. Depending on the style you run and your mood, 1100 to 1200 will be your target range for stamina, but that's also assuming you hit the other requirement with the guts and the wit, which we also need 1 gold recovery with a white recovery usually, or in some cases you can go for a stamina unique skill as well, which we will talk about a little bit later. You can also go 2 gold recovery skill depending on what you think is best for your circumstances. It is totally okay to overstam if you want to be omega safe, since there is a chance people will run stamina debuff with stamina siphon. Power 1000 to 1200, this is the amount I would suggest if your goal is to win the CM. And again, I understand this is a lot. If this is unachievable for you, try to get as high as you can after the other stats. For gut, around 600-ish is what you want to aim for. If you have SSR Rico, 3LB or preferably MLB, if it doesn't drop your deck race bonus below 50, it is something to consider using. Wit 750 to 1200, this track has 2 downhill, making Wit more important to get into downhill mode to help reduce stamina consumption for this long CM. Gut build I would not recommend unless you're going for Christmas Ogre, where she's a bit unique in the sense that she has multiple recovery needed, but that requires careful planning and calculation. This is an ideal stat line example that I've seen that is very hard to achieve for those that did not prepare well in advance, but again, this is just the ideal situation. Max speed, 1100 stamina, 1000 plus power, 600-ish gut, 1100 wit, or basically the same thing except 1200 stamina and lower wit to 750 plus. Again, gold recovery plus 1 white, or some cases people can use recovery unique, specifically recovery unique inherit that grants 0.35 recovery, or 2 gold recovery if you wish to go that route. I know the stamina requirement is high and confusing with the gut and the wit, so I will include a link to the Umalator for you that is already set up with a track condition for the CM to calculate what stats you need for your own desired situation. Here's an example Uma I have set up here. You click compare and your focus is not the survival category, but it is the max spurt rate that you should be focusing on. I prefer 90% or higher, but that's just me, and you can adjust your stats threshold based on what you think is best for you. I do think at the very minimum you should want at least 80% for your spurt rate percentage over here. And make sure to change the run strategy that matches your Uma, as late and end closer is more lenient with stamina compared to front and pace, so just be mindful of that. Front runners, oh my god, how long have I waited to include her in the sheet. Kita-san Black will be one of the best Uma for this CM. Her unique victory cheer is just crazy strong in this one, which hint hint also what you want to inherit. One thing to keep note is that Kita-san Black does have mile C, and you preferably want to get that to mile B or mile A so you can do the mile races more consistently in your ace run to not miss out on a lot of the skill points and stats overall. There is one problem with her though. A very big problem. Ballroom Seiyun Sky is also very strong. The problem is that she will be released in the middle of the CM. I think maybe day 2, round 1, or round 2, somewhere around there. So I'm not going to explain any more than that since not many is going to adjust their team at that point. Valentine Bourbon will be solid. Her kit has everything she needs for front. Her attitude is also very good where you don't need any extra pink spark to bump any of them up, which is really nice. Only thing about her is that she does not have taking the lead and she can't use Bourbon with cards since, well, she's Bourbon. So against Kita-san in lobby where Kita-san has taken the lead in her kit, going to be very hard to compete. Summer Marzinski, also decent. Aptitude is good for her as well. She innately have a gold recovery in her kit being restless and a white recovery being corner recovery as well. And since front require more stamina than backliner, you could even go double gold recovery of restless and then swing Maestro from Super Creek card, for example, just depending on what the stamina you have at the end of the career. And then we also have Suzuka is also very good as a sacker for your front. Keep in mind you will need to run her in Unity Cup to unlock Runaway as Trackblazer lock all secret events, so just keep that in mind. I am not the most informed of the optimal stat line for Runaway, so that one you have to look elsewhere to acquire. My apologies. By the way, if any of the coloring for any of these skills throughout the video you disagree with and you have insight on your end, I would love to hear it in the comments down below. Unique skills, as mentioned earlier, Victory Cheer from Kita-san Black will be your best one. No angling and scheming this time around, not very effective on this one, so we don't want it. Arcrow of Blessing from New Year TM Opera will also be a very solid option across the board for the different position for this one. You also can go Duty of Dignity Cost, some case even Kiss of Courage or Operation Cacao, which is usable as well. Pure Heart I want to address because some people will think this is troll to put on the front runner section since it requires you to be in the 2nd to 4th position to proc, but front require more stamina than backliners and some Uma don't have any innate option that people are starving for a way to get recovery outside of swinging Maestro from the Super Creek stamina card. So what people do is, one, they can pray they are 2nd to 4th, or more consistently build a Runaway Suzuka stacked with a ton of mid-game skills so that their front will not be first, activate Pure Heart, and then the Runaway will die later and then their front will take off then. We also have Break It Down from Ballroom Seiyun Sky. I'm going to leave this here in case people do want to make some last minute changes to their team. For skills, you want a gold recovery skill at least as mentioned earlier, likely swinging Maestro for most, maybe even Restless for frontrunners. Early lead or taking the lead as per always count as +1 for groundwork requirement as well. Groundwork, because this is a long race, is not as mandatory in my opinion. It's still very good, don't get me wrong. If you can get it, I would still recommend it, but if you say hit a god run but miss out on groundwork, I don't think it's a insta glue angle. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to go over all of these or this video will be an hour long, but I will link the sheet in the description for you to look at all of these at your own pace. I will point out corner skills, especially Professor of Curvature, can be proc twice since this track is so long, so more value to them there. Inside Scoop is also a pretty decent skill for this one across the board, and then green skills for groundwork as per usual. Pace Chasers, they are not in a good spot for this one. They do have the comfort of being easier to plan and build because they do come with recovery in their kit, most of them, but the overall firepower is not there for them. Christmas Ogre will have her own setup stamina requirement, different from what I've shown since she needs and has recovery in her kit. Use the Umulator to plan for her, and again, she's the only one that can potentially use some of the gut deck for this CM, but I think it's still pretty inconsistent, so I still won't recommend it. Base Ogre, Daiwa, McQueen, Spechan, all of them have gold recovery in their potential level unlock. Super Creek and Agnes Tachyon both have recovery as their unique, especially Super Creek with her massive 0.75 recovery. That being said, Ogre and Daiwa is a little bit better in my opinion because their aptitude can cover mile, medium, and long, while the other down here, you have to invest in mile sparks likely to be more consistent during career runs. For someone like Super Creek, it feels a bit bad because you're going to have to drop mile races entirely because her mile aptitude starts at G, so I wouldn't even bother trying to raise that up to like a B or an A to run the mile races. For unique skill, you can still use Victory Cheer since you can activate it in the 1st or 2nd position. Will you be able to grab that spot? Depending on the lobby and how the race plan out in the end, but Pace doesn't have much of anything, so you kind of have to coin flip something here or there if you want to have a chance of winning. New Year TM Opera unique, still good. Shadow Break, Dignity Call, good old reliable Triumph Impulse, and then Fuji Kiseki unique, and then also Pure Heart if you need the extra stamina. For skill, gold recovery is mandatory. We got head on, professor of curvature, and corner skills as mentioned earlier. Uma stand is decent. Don't need to hard focus on it. It's nice if you can get it, but nothing too crazy. Prepare to pass speed star is fine. Nimble navigator or no stopping me, we don't get it for free anymore, so you'll likely have to hit nimble from inspiration, or there is a random event you can get from the Trackblazer career, or you can use Yukino Beijing wit for NSM, but I personally don't think that's worth. And then all the other good stuff down here, and then also green skills there if you have any extra skill points remaining. For Lace Surger, also going to be overshadowed in the CM. I mean, it's a long CM. We all know which position it favors currently. You can certainly run your Ogres as late 2, Summer Special Week. Unique is a recovery as well, and then Satono Diamond will be released a bit later, but I want to include her here because I'm biased, but I think she's okay, honestly. And I can't not mention Mambo. I don't think she's that good, but people love her, so I have to include her. If you run her, you're going to need a lot of luck, love, and patience, but you have my respect for your dedication. For unique skill, Pump Some Iron and Dover unique is not something I would recommend for this CM. Instead, the other unique that I've already touched on is what I would suggest. Rudolph unique is also an addition to the backliners and also superior heal, which is Fantasy Grass Wonder unique, also something to consider. 0.35 recovery for our backliners, similar to Pure Heart for our front and pace chasers. For skills, gold recovery, slick search, or on your left. Please buff on your left side games, I beg of you. Corner skills like professor of curvature, and then nimble navigator or NSM. Nothing else too different from the other category except some late specific skills that can be okay if you didn't get anything else to buy from up here. And then green skills, they're there if you need them. Guys, would you believe me if I say that Encloser will be the strongest overall position for this long CM? I know, I was so shocked too. Who would have seen this one coming? The only thing that can match with Encloser is really just Kira-san Black. Kira-san Black versus the world. The best Encloser I would think is Tamamo Cross with her unique, access to straightaway spurt, and Ninetail, which is the gold version of Tail Held High. Her mount aptitude is pretty bad though, which we will touch on that in a little bit. Naruto Taishin, also really strong with her unique, straightaway spurt in her kit, and Roaching Shadow as well. She is very, very strong. I'm not too sure about Sleeping Lion. I don't believe it's a gold recovery you should rely on, but that's just me. And then we have this horse. I hate this horse. She has her unique Anchor Await, which is super strong, innate Uma stand in her kit, as well as the gold recovery skill of Go Home Specialist. Very good and friendly Uma to build, much like every other long CM that this horse exists in. And then we have Mayano Top Gun. She is one of the few Uma that has no stopping me in her kit, making her quite valuable. She's also have Breath of Fresh Air, which is a usable gold skill. A couple of things with Mayano I want to point out. You will not have access to straightaway spurt anymore because her shapeshifter secret event is not doable in Trackblazer. So you do need to get spurt from inspiration, unfortunately. That being said, she is an Uma that's easier to get fast learner in career, which is more valuable in Trackblazer now and moving forward as well, since we will get more and more skill points in our career as the scenario keep progressing, which obviously mean fast learner value goes up even more. Manhattan Cafe is fine, but she has quite a few things you need to take care of. Her N is C. She does not innately have straightaway spurt or nimble or a gold recovery as an Encloser, so you will need a decent amount of planning and attempts to make her work. She does have Stamina Siphon, which is a stamina debuff as a recovery for 0.35 recovery, which we will talk about briefly about debuff in a bit as well. And then honestly, all the lace surgeries that I've mentioned, you can just toss them in at N and they'll probably perform better, just a bit harder to get the necessary skill. For unique, it is the same as Lace Surger, nothing new to speak about. For skill, gold recovery, straightaway spurt, or enroaching shadow, very strong, please get it. We got the corner skills, nimble navigator from inspiration or random Trackblazer event, or your Uma has it like no stopping me from Mayano Top Gun. And then we also have daring strike. It's a very good skill, but I don't expect many to be able to get it since you can currently only get it from Amira Vega SSR Power until Mr. CB Wit comes out. And please, oh Lord heavens, do not get early start. And then we have green skills to boost some of your stats as well if you want to. Some people will run Debuffer, whether that's because they're evil and want to take advantage of the poor souls that barely hit or not hitting the stamina requirement, or they think that the CM sucks and just want to make 1 ace and 2 debuffers to save their time and sanity and try to take more time to learn the scenario instead. The likely suspect is Nice Nature since she comes with All-Seeing Eye as well. Manhattan Cafe comes with Stamina Siphon as I mentioned earlier, which if you run the debuffer, it can be anything that's not these two. It's debuffers, just run whatever you want. You should grab the Manhattan Cafe SSR Stamina card as a borrow to get Stamina Siphon. Other than that, just your usual debuff skill, your Hesitant, Subdue, Flustered, you get the drill. For priority of position to debuff, I would do end closer first since they are strong and have decent amount of option, and then front for mainly just Kira-san Black, but you'll also see like Valentine Mihono Bourbon, I'm sure of it. And then after that is just the pace and the late that will end up being, I don't think they'll be a threat, so that they're at the very least of the priority. If you run double debuff, please ensure that your 1 ace is really good if you plan on winning the whole thing, or decent enough if you want to get the CM over with and just hit Group A final more reliably. Now let's touch on sparks and cards to run. As a general baseline, you want to go half stamina and half power, but you would go more into one of them depending on the context of your situation. For example, if you're training Ghost Ship with 20% stamina bonus and you use an MLB Super Creek, you might consider going more power spark because you'll likely hit the stamina requirement even with less stamina spark. In contrast, if you want to borrow a speed card for Kita-san Black because she can't use her own card and you have her own card at MLB and you don't have anything else, and you have to use another stamina card that isn't MLB Super Creek, you might want to bring more stamina spark in that case. Now in this example, without Creek, you'll have to find another way to get a gold recovery skill, so maybe like borrow Mayana Top Gun speed card for Restless or something like that. Now that we're in Trailblazer scenario, depending on your UMA, you might want to invest in specific distance sparks to allow you to race more consistently in career run, most notably mile sparks for the CM. You have 3 options. One is that you invest enough to hit mile A. This is obviously ideal for you to be more consistent with your mile races in career. But you can also invest enough to get mile B, which is usually good enough depending on your preference. Or the last option is just sack it, forget about it, and just run mile races as mile C if your UMA is mile C, which is pretty cope. I don't think you should do that. Or just don't run mile races at all for some of these UMA, which does take a hit on your stats and skill points, but some of these UMAs are a real pain to try to get their mile to a B or A. Here are some examples for Valentine Bourbon. As mentioned earlier, her aptitude is amazing where she has mile B, medium A, and long B, which long won't be a problem since ideally you'll have some long sparks to aim for long S. And since mile is already B, you just need 1 mile spark to get to A. So you can opt in for option A for 1 mile spark to get to mile A, or option C if you don't mind mile B and just running it as it is. For Kita-san Black, her mile is C, so you need 1 mile spark to get to B and 4 or more to get to A. In this case, I would go option A or B depending on my preference and what I have available for my legacy option. Naruto Taishin, mile is D, so you would need 4 mile sparks for mile B and 7 or more for mile A. So this one, depending on the person, can go any of these options depending on their account and how much they want to invest and try hard. And then we have someone like Tamamo Cross where her mile is E, so you will need 7 mile sparks for mile B, 10 or more for mile A, which is one I'm going to be honest, I'm just going to choose option C personally and not deal with it because that kind of investment is crazy. I am not dealing with that. Now let's look at the cards. It's important to note that for your entire deck, at the end, you ideally want at least 50% race bonus for your entire deck if you can. So please keep that in mind when you're building your deck. The general stat setup for the CM will be 2 speed, 1 stamina, 2 wit, and then a flex card for whatever you need based on your situation. For speed cards, Naruto Top Road obviously being the best, but I will only use it if it's 3LB or preferably MLB for the extra race bonus. Machikane also the same if you want to high roll. Kita-san Black, you technically don't need 3LB or MLB, but not having the base specialty priority unlock feels pretty bad. But if that's all you have, you can still use it, especially since curvature is very good for this CM. Bigo is just a good stat. Kawakami Princess at 3LB and MLB has race bonus, so it's not too bad, especially for those like me that hit only Kawakami Princess on the Fine Motion banner. It's not all to waste. Mino Top Gun Speed grants Restless for Frontrunner as a gold recovery option. SSR Sweep Tosho can RNG straightaway spurt, but not many will have this card at MLB anyway, and I don't recommend borrowing this card. For SR, we got Shingo Windy at MLB. It has 10% race bonus, which is very nice. And then Sweet Tosho if you don't have anything else. Stamina card, just use or borrow MLB Super Creek if your Uma doesn't innately have a gold recovery to make your life easier. The card has too much value for this CM for a lot of the cases. Naruto Brian, I don't expect many to have this card at high limit break, so I'm not even going to discuss that. Manhattan Cafe SSR Stamina is for Stamina Siphon for debuff. If you have it at 3 LB or MLB, can be used as just a stamina card. And then SR option, we have SR Manhattan Cafe. Power cards, one of these might be your flex card. Most likely for many cases will be the Marvelous Sunday event card. Very good card, 15% race bonus, 35 initial power and stamina. And being Marvelous Sunday has some very nice skills with straightaway adept, ramp up, and tail held high to potentially grab. Other could be like Smart Falcon for front to get groundwork, Amira Vega for daring strike. Nishino Flower also has 15% race bonus at MLB, has some green skills you can get and can grant you straightaway adept and pace chaser corner potentially if you're running pace. For gut cards, I would not recommend running single gut card in your deck. I think that feels really bad. But if you're running Christmas Ogre and want to play gut build just because you want to play gut build, then you have fun with that. For wit cards, Fine Motion being the obvious best choice, high stats, race bonus on 3LB and MLB, and potentially give you Nimble Navigator from the skill hints, and then also Speed Star or Prepare to Pass for Pace Chaser. Nice Nature, outside of the on your left axis for your Laserger, if you get her to MLB, she grants you 15% race bonus, which is really good for a wit card. Yukino Beijing Wit, any limit break will work. You're really only using this card for no stopping me if you wish to go that route. I will say do not use your borrow slot on MLB of this card. It is not worth it. You can borrow something more impactful. Only consider using this if you so happen to have a copy of this card in your account. Bourbon Wit for your frontrunner, that isn't Bourbon or Kitasan Black for taking the lead. And then your SR option, we have Marvelous Sunday and Tachyon at MLB granting 10% raise bonus. But if you don't have them at MLB, any limit break will work. They grant 5% scaling up depending on your limit break. Marvelous Sunday being a little bit better than Agnes Tachyon in my opinion because she has the skill pool that gives you straightaway adept, ramp up, and tail held high, so it's more valuable in that sense, where Tachyon has the extra skill point bonus, which is also pretty nice to have at MLB. Friendship card, if you have Rico at 3LB, preferably MLB, as she will have 5 to 10% race bonus, and you can use this card for some extra stamina and gut, mood recovery option in career, and if you use it well, can make your career more smooth sailing. And if you don't have some of these or any of these, just use what you have available in your account to adapt based on it. Just keep in mind of the ideal 50% race bonus threshold for your overall deck. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. If you have any comments, questions, thought, if I misspoke, if you disagree with some of these, think something on the sheet should be changed, added, or removed, please drop a comment down below. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm recording this a few hours prior to the new scenario dropping, so I'm gonna go camp at the loading screen now. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Take care.